far as the audit goes, we're well aware of the items in the audit. We have been working to address them. Probably the most significant thing was bringing in a new CFO to correct those reports, the findings in the audit. We felt that was critical and that we had reached a stage where we needed to make that move in order to correct those audits. As far as the reason for pulling the amendment earlier is that based on some people's input, talking to people, I have approached numerous municipalities in the area to see if there'd be an opportunity for a shared service, what's called an interlocal agreement, for us to contract with them to provide assessment services. Several of those municipalities have expressed interest, where then it would not be our employee, but their employee, we would contract with them to provide the assessments. So I felt this time it was best to pull that until we could see where we're going with that. The groin you raised, there is, in the discussions that we had, and Dick, correct me if I'm wrong, there will be a walkway that sand will be built on, mechanically, for lack of a better term, versus naturally, that there will be sand built up on both sides of the groin so that people will be able to pass back and forth, whether from Margate to Vanderbilt or Margate or just on the other side of Martindale Avenue. The redevelopment you talked about is we have the redevelopment plan as part of the ordinance. We certainly make copies available to anybody that wants it. Is that although the majority of the redevelopment area was never targeted for eminent domain, there were 17 parcels within that overall area that were targeted. Some of them were as little as one property, some of them was a block. The planning board's recommendations and what we have introduced removes those areas that weren't part of the targeted area from the redevelopment plan altogether, so that the misconception, the falsehoods that the people were told, you're part of the redevelopment plan, therefore they can take your property through eminent domain, that they will not be able to say that because we will be removing a large percentage of the area from the redevelopment plan. Out of the remaining majority portions, we have taken eminent domain out of the plan. We did leave it in what we felt were some critical pieces that we may need it for, and Mr. Klinger was right about court decisions. However, we feel that even with a strictest interpretation of eminent domain, these parcels were needed, and that would be the movie theater, because it's underutilized. It's such a large parcel that's closed for a number of years. I know there's people actively pursuing to buy that for different projects. However, we feel that eminent domain may have to be used in that area. The Lou site, because it's vacant and has sat, even when it was a building that sat vacant for a number of years, that we felt that we needed to keep eminent domain there in case it had to be used to force some type of development. The properties across from Lou's, we did leave that in the eminent domain area. When we look at what qualifies for an area needing redevelopment, that's a postcard. You have 0 line setbacks. You have high density. You have no parking. So we felt that to ensure that we had the ability to move some type of redevelopment plan with somebody in the future, that we had to use that in the eminent domain area. There may be 1 or 2 other parcels, but it's clearly spelled out in the ordinance. But again, the majority of the area that was never targeted for eminent domain is being taken out of the redevelopment plan altogether to remove any ability for somebody to tell them you're part of the redevelopment area. We can take your property through eminent domain. The other areas, most of it again has been taken out of the eminent domain area, except for some key parcels that we felt that we needed to